What's up, fight fans? Today's news features Chael Sonnen's felony charges being dismissed, Aljamain Sterling claiming he will dominate Petr Yan, Gilbert Burns' confidence in beating Khamzat Chimaev, the stacked main card of UFC 275, and Brown and Bryan Barberena agreeing to a rematch. Welcome to Sportskeeda MMA News. Let's get started. Yesterday we reported on Chael Sonnen's felony charges. As of today, his felony charges have been dropped in connection with the infamous hotel altercation, where Sonnen was alleged to have violently attacked a couple, but Sonnen still faces 6 battery misdemeanors. Oscar Willis from the Mac Life said this on Twitter. Chael Sonnen's case has had all felonies dismissed and will resort back to the original charges filed, per an amendment hearing in Las Vegas today. The breaking news of the charges had drawn attention from another UFC fighter that's been arrested in Las Vegas, former light heavyweight champion Jon Jones, who said this on Twitter. "This couldn't be more accurate. Imagine having someone at your job who couldn't hold your jockstrap being your biggest critic. Was annoying, lol." This was in response to Sonnen's criticism of Jones for his Vegas incident. Former UFC double champ Daniel Cormier knows a thing or two about Jon Jones. The two men have had one of the most intense rivalries in UFC history. Cormier had this to say: "What's up with my boy Chael Sonnen and Jon Jones? I mean, fellas, we are grown men. You boys are slinging at each other. What I care about is, now the man that has sat up there for years, Chael, has allowed himself to be judged by a man that has truly just been the of everyone's joke for so long. So I ask myself, guys, are we adults? Yes, we are. But in this instance, do I think that Jones would act like one? Absolutely not. Is he wrong for not acting like one? Absolutely not. I'm not surprised that Jones is taking shot at Chael right now, because every time that Jones found himself in those issues, and that was a multitude of times, Chael was there to judge. What do you make of DC's defense of Jon Jones? UFC bantamweight champ Aljamain Sterling recently spoke about his upcoming title fight with interim champ Petr Yan. Both men are set to fight at UFC 273, a rematch from UFC 259, when Yan illegally kneed Sterling while he was grounded, losing his title via disqualification. Sterling gave a prediction for the rematch on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani. "It's either I am full of or this guy is gonna get walked. The way I am feeling right now, I think this fight will be as dominant as the fight against Sandhagen." Sterling then revisited the infamous illegal knee and said this: "People can say whatever they want. I didn't roll over. I didn't quit. The ref saved me from myself, and I'm very appreciative of that. We need more of that. People do illegal all the time, and they always just get a slap on the wrist. It's about damn time a ref did the right thing and saved the fighter from themselves and punish a guy for doing something as egregious and malicious as that. So in my book, Petr Yan can go himself, and we'll go figure this out April 9th. Sterling would then reiterate his prediction on Twitter. "It's fascinating how terrified humans are to try to excel in life. Your fears are not mine. Your thoughts and opinions also are not mine. I will win, and I will dominate. Half you thumb pushers will never relate to confidence in the work you put in. Enjoy the show." The 16-2 Petr Yan defeated Corey Sandhagen via dominant unanimous decision for the interim title at UFC 267, and looks to unify the belt on April 9th. UFC welterweight contender Gilbert Burns recently spoke to Chisanga Malata about his upcoming fight with Khamzat Chimaev. Burns reassured fans that his only focus is on the fight, and then made a prediction. "The media, the fans, the odds, I couldn't care as much, so sometimes it's good to be under the radar. But to be honest, it's not even that the case. I'm just focused on my performance, to go out and do my best against a tough guy. And I do believe I'm gonna win this fight, and I don't think it's going to be by decision. I think it's going to be a finish." The 21-4 Gilbert Burns recently took down Stephen Thompson by unanimous decision and looks to get back into title contention and possibly face pound-for-pound king Kamaru Usman. Burns, however, understands how dangerous Chimaev really is and said this to Hablemos MMA. "I have 2 objectives in the UFC. The first is fight against the toughest in the division, and the second is become champion. Whoever the UFC puts in front of me, I'll fight. I wanted to fight with Colby, but he had a fight, so Khamzat was the only one that wanted to fight. I know he's a big risk and he's number 11 and very tough, but if I want to be champion, I need to fight everyone. I'm following the example of Glover Teixeira and Charles Oliveira. I need to fight everyone. He's tough and a big risk, but I still want to fight him." Khamzat Chimaev is 10-0 in MMA and took the UFC by storm after registering 4 dominant finishes to start his Octagon career, and has given fans no reason to doubt his abilities to rise to welterweight gold. With UFC 273 just around the corner, what are your official predictions for this fight? UFC 275 is officially set for June 11th in Singapore, and the main card so far has 3 bangers. Robert Whittaker is set to face Marvin Vettori. Both fighters are coming off losses to Israel Adesanya and look to cement their place among top middleweights. Valentina Shevchenko will make her 7th title defense against Taila Santos. Shevchenko is coming off a TKO victory over Lauren Murphy, while Santos is riding a 4-fight win streak, most recently a submission over Joanne Wood. And UFC light heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira is set to make his first title defense against destructive prospect Jiri Prochazka. Teixeira wrested the belt from Jan Blachowicz last year by submission in the 2nd round. Prochazka earned his title shot by knocking Dominic Reyes out cold with a spinning elbow. Josh Thompson of the Weighing In podcast spoke to Big John McCarthy and gave his thoughts on the title fight. I think it is going to be a really tough fight for Glover. If Glover can kind of do what he did to Blachowicz, where he gets an early takedown and slow Jiri down a little bit, I think Glover is one of those fighters that from the top position he really tries to fold people up. He really starts to make them work so hard in positions they are not used to. They end up spending more energy than they should, and they start to slow down and gas out, start not to have that pop and explosiveness on the feet. That's one thing that Glover has learned over the years, about how to fight extremely smart. Do you think Glover Teixeira will defy all odds and beat the seemingly unstoppable Jiri Prochazka? And last but not least, Matt Brown recently spoke to Ariel Helwani. Brown acknowledged his fight of the night loss to Bryan Barberena at UFC Columbus and noted that the consensus in the MMA world was that he ultimately won the fight, despite the split decision. Brown also had some words to say about fighter pay, a topic that has been divisive among fans in the past year. In a perfect world, we all get a flat pay. It shouldn't be a show and win. Like I got half of the pay last weekend, and was there a loser in that fight? Even if they gave it to me, which they should have. Barberena walks away with half. He doesn't deserve half his pay. He deserves his full pay. You show up, you make weight, you put on a good fight. Things happen. This sport, you do all this work, all this training and preparation, the sacrifice, the grind, and then you go out there and some happens. How often have we seen some fluke happen in the sport? It's an almost weekly occurrence in this sport, and now you've just lost half your pay for that. Or judges, bad judges. You lose half your pay for bad judging, which has happened to me more than once now. Brown then tweeted at Barberena, "I'm not one to ask for rematches, and won't bug you about it, but if you ever want to do it again, I'm down, brother." To which Barberena was more than willing to oblige. "Anytime, brother. Would love to do it again. #respect. That about does it for Sportskeeda MMA news. Here is one final question for you fight fans. As MMA fans, do you value UFC veteran Matt Brown's opinions on fighter pay more than someone like Jake Paul? If not, please leave a comment and tell us what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Sportskeeda MMA on all our social media platforms. Thanks for tuning in.